running for District 86. Nice to have you, brother.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor being here.
Indeed. I'm glad you came by and talk to us. Come meet the family, meet Ralph over there. Wake up, Ralph. It's time to go. But let us know why you got in this race.
First of all, everybody's been so nice and professional here, and this was the last thing I thought I'd be doing. I've been working for 36 years as a surgical urologist in Riverdale and East Point, and I retired November 1st. I have, together with my wife, 17 and a half grandkids, and I thought we'd be traveling, visiting
Say
them.
that number again?
Almost 18 grandkids. So that was what was in the cards.
Yeah.
And about 6 weeks ago, I got a knock on the door from a stranger, and they said, we're DeKalb Republicans, and I want you to know that your district has, you may not know who your House district person is. And I said, no, I don't really know, but they said, you might want to look into it. And I said, okay. And they said, well, she walked out on a resolution calling Hamas a terror organization. I said, what? Mm-hmm. I said, and then she said she voted against an anti-Semitism bill. I said, what? No.
Why did she do it?
I don't know. I've never heard her apologize or explain it, but the world's in chaos for the Jewish people right now.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you in particular?
Well, I have nieces, nephews, grandkids coming up to college. They can't go to college. They're locked in the libraries.
Something in Emory I seen today. It was a protest at Emory.
And they had arrests and waving Hamas flags, intimidating students. I mean, just try to imagine if the shoe was on the other foot. I mean, it's scary if you have kids, nieces, nephews. They can't go safely. You get into Harvard, you get into Yale, you get into Columbia. And everybody's excited. You hit that point in high school. You get those grades, and now you're scared to walk on campus.
Dangerous times.
Dangerous. I mean, just to go to college. So that was the stimulus. That's what really said, I have to do something. So I asked. I said, I thought I was going to help the organization or help get someone elected. I said, who's running? She said, she's unopposed. I said, that's not good. So she said, would you do it? I said, let me think about it. She said, you have 3 days. I said, 3 days to find out whether I want to be a politician. That's not a lot of time, but
exactly.
But
you never thought about a career in politics, anything?
No, in the back of my mind, maybe, but it was really not something. This came to me. And I thought it was an important. And now, it's in every newspaper. It's around the world. What's going on in this country, in the United States of America? We should be ashamed.
How did your wife feel about you running?
So it's interesting. She was in Utah with a girls' trip. So I called her up. I said, listen, I'm thinking of doing it. She says, what? And then she said, you have my full support.
Beautiful.
Because I told her why, and she's on the same page.
I like that. So let's move it up a little bit. When you say you get elected, you're in the State House, what will be the first thing you start working on right away?
So I was told the other day there's no doctor in the State House or Senate. I could bring a different set of credentials to that organization. I really care about healthcare, and I care about healthcare in the minority community. And the reason is I lived it. It's not just talk, right?
In South Fulton, correct?
South Fulton, Southern Regional. I was a little bit in Fayetteville and Midtown, okay? And a little bit at Northside over my career, 36 years. But Riverdale almost every day. So
how much of your clientele was from the African American community?
Probably about 80%.
Okay.
And so I spent more time in Riverdale than I spent in Toco Hills, where I live now. So, and they want to help me. They can't vote for me, but they want to canvass with me. They want to tell their stories. And so healthcare. So yes, what I would do, I would break with the Republican Party, and I would stand for Medicaid expansion, because the hospitals shouldn't have to take all the brunt of free care, right? So if you're really sick and you have no insurance, everybody's going to the emergency room. You have to be admitted. You have to have surgery. You have to do it, right? And now that we have, let's say, 7+ million illegals, some of them get sick too. So they end up in an emergency room. They get treated, and then nobody pays the bill, right? So South Fulton, I was there 25 years, gone. That hospital used to take care of all the people from the airport.
So where do they go now?
So Georgia Baptist is gone. So this is what I'm saying. So we need. Now I heard the governor saying we have to start putting. Grady's going to have some indigent care or some urgent care centers. And then even if you go to urgent care center and you need, let's say, a specialist, access is very limited. You can't get. You need a pulmonologist, you need a cardiologist, you need a urologist, you need a neurologist.
So what do you say when some people blame Republicans because of that? They say the issues are so tough because of Republicans. What's your pushback there?
I think it's a system thing. I mean, people, let me tell you something. There are people, and this, when I first went into practice, people used to get their check. If you take out a kidney stone, they would get the check in the mail. So when Mr. So-and-so would come to the office, I would say, I know you got the check. He said, well, I needed the money. I paid my car payment. So there are people who could a little bit game the system. Okay, they know, or they're playing. They're saying insurance is expensive. I'd rather not get the insurance, and I'd rather pay for something else. So it's a little bit playing a little bit of Las Vegas, right? So those people should have some sort of punishment, because if you're playing the game and you're saving money and then something hits you, it's not really fair. I'm talking about Medicaid expansion for people who really can't afford it. We have to have the ability for them to seek wellness care to prevent them from getting sick, and for them to be able to get somebody to see them if they need a specialist.
Yeah, indeed. So let's move it up a little bit. I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts on this voucher program right now in this state? Is it good, bad, and how does it affect black families, you think?
So when I was bringing up my 4 kids, I didn't get any extra money. They went to a private Jewish school.
Okay.
And it's very expensive. As you know, a Catholic school, Jewish schools are expensive. Private schools are expensive. But we paid our taxes. So I always said, we should get maybe something for it, but it was not in the cards. I think DeKalb County, you talk about blame and this and that. DeKalb County is one of the lowest math and reading scores on graduates in high school. So they push people they say 70%, 72% graduate, but they can't read. So the first thing we need to do for some of these kids, if they can't read, is have some sort of trade schools or some sort of trade. So they may be brilliant, they may be great electricians, or they may be great at computers, they may be great at fixing. So that's one thing. But then getting back to the voucher system, I'm in favor of it, because I think that if you're in a system, a school district, that you don't think the school is good for them, especially now, it may not be safe for some of my nieces and nephews to go to school. And I have to homeschool them, or I have to send them to a private school because it's not safe. Or
some people argue that it's defunding public schools, and public schools will suffer.
I don't think, that's a talking point, because we have a $16 billion surplus in Georgia.
That leads me to my next question. How do you think Kemp is doing with Georgia?
I think I was happy that he took away the gas tax. I think we should lower the taxes more, especially now. People are really having a tough time with inflation. Again, it's easy to blame this one and that one. I'm not about blame. My platform is about unifying people. I would like ambassadors from the black community, Jewish community, Catholic community, and rotate and learn about the community. When you learn, because if you learn that this one's bad, this one's good, this one's, when you're seeing it, you get to experience something that you'll learn. So how is Kemp doing? I think he's doing okay now. But I think he could do better. I think everybody can do better. As a physician, you never say you can't do better. But I would like to lower taxes, because inflation is now over 7%. Groceries, we went shopping for the last,
How do we get there?
How'd we get there?
How do we get to inflation? Was it the stimulus money, with COVID and all that stuff?
COVID, but also gasoline. That's the driver of our economy. We're not. The first thing that happened, again, we shut down pipelines, we stopped fracking. Gasoline, when gasoline starts going, and we don't have, our reserves are not being energy. They're not being replenished. So that's the kicker of the economy. That's
is this coming from? Now, triggered by the middle? What's going on in the Middle East as well?
No,
between-
this started from the day President Biden took over. He shut down Keystone Pipeline. He shut down a lot of things. So when you start energy, when you have now we're buying a lot of energy from some of our enemies, right? And we're letting our enemies make a significant, including the Iranians, making a significant amount, billions of dollars a year. And they're funneling it into terror. So that's the beginning of the inflation. I think yes, COVID didn't help it, but prices in the grocery stores are out of control. Eggs and orange juice and milk. I mean, and people are feeling it.
Yeah, indeed. So what would you do? I know you're advocating for cutting the income tax, or the state income tax.
That would help.
Yeah.
But I'm in favor of energy. I'm in favor of drilling. I'm in favor. My wife is from Houston. I'm in favor of becoming energy independent and having a surplus of energy, and that's one of the drivers of the economy. I'm not an economist, so I don't know everything about the economy, but I know that if gas keeps going up, somebody.
If you got to decide between groceries and gas, that's tough.
Somebody came over to me on Saturday and said to me, she's from California. It's almost $7 a gallon. In California. And they keep raising taxes over in some of those states. And you don't recognize San Francisco anymore. You don't I mean, it's hard to be a beautiful city.
Let me ask you this question: how much of that is? Because I went to San Francisco during 2020, and I told my wife when I got back, I said, San Francisco changed since the last time we went there, right? Like I went on one corner. In one corner, it was legal for you to do drugs. Like it was legal. And then one center said they passed out needles. I've never seen that. I said, it's legal. It was across from a McDonald's, and my homegirl told me, she said, no, you can, as long as you're in that corner, it's legal to do it. They'll even give you the needles. And then we was like bar hopping, and it was super sketchy, and trust me, I'm from the inner city, so I ain't too sketchy, but I was like, no, this is like super duper sketchy. But when I first went with my wife, and we went to like little Chinatown and all, it was beautiful, beautiful city. How much of it do you think is due to like criminal activity or folks who just out of work because they're getting priced out?
So I don't know San Francisco politics as well, but I do know in New York also they had a big vending machine that was free, that you could just push a button and get needles. And you can get a crack pipe. So people say, wait, why do you? If you could get a needle, fine. You don't want to transmit hepatitis, right? But why would you give out? And within a day, those vending machines were empty. So I think even some of the real liberal states, maybe Colorado and Oregon, they're starting to have second thoughts about legalizing all these drugs, mushrooms and stuff, because they're starting to see that it's not just that legalize marijuana, fine, you want to use it once in a while, but kids are using it on a regular basis. And we see as urologists, we could see affecting their fertility. And neurologists would affect some of their psychic. These young kids, today, the suicide rate in kids, especially teenage girls, is off the chart. Now, part of it is social media. Part of it is phone. I was talking to somebody this morning. They said, when I was young, I came home from school, I grabbed my stickball, and I went to the schoolyard, and we played. And then we had a quarter to get our Good Humor ice cream. And then my mother would say, be home by 6:30, or when the lights went out, when the street lights went on, be home. Today, it's not like that.
Not at all.
Right? So they're on these machines. They're bullying going on. They're using all kinds of different stuff. And, who's responsible? I'm not going to point to one, but 105,000 fentanyl deaths in this country from fentanyl coming from China. Somebody needs to be accountable. I mean, we got problems in this country.
Indeed. Thanks for answering that. We're going to swing it to our online correspondent. Brent, you there? Brent, you there? I don't know if he's there or not. Brent, you there?
He might not be on there. Nope, he's off.
Oh, we might have logged off. However,
we're on. He's not there.
He's on. I don't know. He's not on the live though. He's not on the stream.
Do we got to add him in? Either way, we'll keep moving. So let's just do some. chat, right? So let me ask you, what is your favorite musical instrument?
He's here in the chat. Let me see if I can.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because you probably saw my Facebook. I learned saxophone.
Really?
And, I learned it on my own. When I was about 35, I started learning it. Now I have somebody who comes once every 2 weeks.
Really?
And I like playing sax.
You like playing
alto sax? Yeah.
Relaxing.
Relaxing, the breathing. I could have. When I was young, I wish I kept with.
Brent is back on. Okay. All right, we'll get right back to you, Brent. Go ahead, finish.
I could have kept the guitar, but then when you have big surgery day coming up and you want to relax, saxophone. You know what it's like.
Indeed. Yes.
That's all the singers. When they get up there, they're taught how to breathe and breathe deep. Use the diaphragm, right?
Yeah. And what's your favorite television show you like to just binge watch when you go to the crib? Just chill and watch.
When I was young or now?
No.
So I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch. We watched. What's the show with Kevin Costner?
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone is pretty good.
Yellowstone. That was really good.
Pretty good.
And we watched some. We like watching movies, but I don't watch as much movies as I used to. Growing up, my favorite show was Batman and Robin.
I got you.
Or Dark Shadows. That was a good one.
I
but
got
you probably you don't got.
No, but I watch it. Yeah, I'll go home and Google Dark Shadows and see what I'm missing. Yeah. Let me ask you this question. What are your thoughts? We're gonna swing it to Brent. He got a question for you. But before we go there, what are your thoughts on this election coming up? Being optimistic, if Trump wins, how do you see things looking? Biden wins, how do you see things looking?
So one of the reasons I decided to run, in addition to what I prefaced this before, is that we have a divided country and it's getting worse and worse. I'm nervous about whoever wins. This country is really divided, so I would like to try to help in my own little way, in my own little district, unifying it. If Trump wins, I think that he's going to focus on more of the economy and try to bring some more peace to the world. Because when Trump was president, it wasn't, for whatever reason, it was a little more calm. If Biden wins, he's going to have really, really make sure he has the best advisors out there, because, he's having some issues.
What issues?
I think he's having some cognitive issues. Sometimes he makes a lot of gaffes, but he's done that his whole career. So I'm not his doctor.
Yeah.
But I want him to have a really solid team behind him who could deal with. There's a lot of problems in this world, and especially in this country. So. I hope the country can be unified, but I'm afraid, because I think the media is driving a lot of this on all sides. I think the media, likes a big fight and likes all this publicity and likes the lawsuits and likes likes attacking one and the other. And it's not been good. It's not been good for this country.
I agree. Brent, we're gonna go to you. You got a question, B?
And I want to start by jumping in here and saying that I also grew up watching Batman and Robin, one of my favorite shows.
So we know your age.
We have that in common. And listening to you talk a little earlier, you were speaking about inflation. And we know that inflation is when there are too many dollars available in the economy. And that drives demand. And so supply has to raise prices in order to kind of cut out some of that demand, right? Because there's dollars available. How would cutting taxes and making more dollars available tamper down inflation?
Well, I'm not saying it's going to necessarily. That wasn't my answer to inflation. That's my answer to helping people, the average person who can't pay for their groceries. So, or people who I'd like to give money back to people who either can't afford groceries, or tax breaks to, not necessarily the rich, but tax breaks to people who are struggling to pay for their groceries.
But if we cut state taxes, wouldn't that benefit the wealthy the most?
Well, it depends on the parameters. It may, like any tax, if you cut taxes to everybody, or if you have certain people, you cut taxes more than others. I'm not put it this way, I'm not a person who is just looking out for the wealthy, and that's why I'm doing this. I would say, even if you gave me a proposition to cut taxes for the middle class or lower class without the wealthy, I could really, I would really think about that. But I'm not an economist, but I really think that people are hurting. So I don't know the exact answer to how to get them from not hurting.
Yeah.
But we also have a tremendous debt in this country too. But Georgia has a tremendous surplus. So I would like to use some of that money to help people.
Yeah. Hey B, thank you for that. Thank you for that, B.
Yeah, definitely. I also want to follow up because in DeKalb County, that's another thing that we have in common. I was raised in DeKalb County, lived in DeKalb County for over 25 years. And so in DeKalb County, our average income is about $40,000, about maybe $32,000 after federal taxes. So with Georgia state taxes, that comes out to be about maybe $180 a month that would go back into the pocket of your average DeKalb County resident. Now, $180 a month can certainly help a lot of people. But at the same time, we're saying things like, we are having terrible problems with schools, and schools are dangerous. Don't you think it would be maybe better to raise taxes, especially on the wealthiest among us, so that we can make all of our schools a safe place?
Well, with a $16 billion surplus, I don't think you have to raise taxes right away. If you need it, you need it. But, like you said, I would help the people who need help first. I would also, in DeKalb County, the potholes, I don't know what they're doing. Again, I'm not in government now, but
I don't either.
the potholes and the number of roads that have these big metal grates that are there forever, banging your wheels of your car. I would really hold them accountable to fix this stuff.
Yeah, but overall, I would have to say I think that we are moving in the right direction in Georgia. Right, I think the surplus is good. I think the questions like this keep the conversation healthy, and I think I don't know.
And I want to say one thing else. I'll make the surplus even better because I'm not doing this because I want to be a politician or because of my ego. So I would take the $23,000 salary and give it all back to DeKalb County, and I would give half of it to the Fraternal Order of the Police and half of it to the education organization of your choice. How's that?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna. I would not take a salary. How's that? And I'll make it better. I'll make it better.
Hey, there you go. Listen. So what we're gonna do is this. Tell me this, Dr.Z. I like that one. If you have,
you said that you wanted to bring that Medicaid funding to Georgia, and I do appreciate that. I also would like to see that Medicaid fund come to Georgia and help with hospitals. We had in North Georgia, if you have a car accident or something, you'd have to be helicoptered to a trauma center in another state. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Well, quick question, and we're going to wrap it up, and I want you to look in that camera and tell the voters why they should vote for you, right? If you could change anything in the world, what would it be?
So I'm going to tell you that there's a Hebrew term called tikkun olam. Tikkun is to fix the world. And the rabbis have discussed it and said one person at a time. Get through to one person, make them a better person, will make the world a better person. Mm. My platform is unity in communities. There's a guy, Stafford. You know Stafford?
Yeah, indeed.
He came to my community.
Stafford, yep.
I'll give him a shout out.
Yeah, give him a shout out.
Because he and I really connected. And he says, I love your community. I want to see, he wants me to see his community, but he wants to
make... You're here with black families? You're here politics of black families. You're right here in the community.
That's right.
Here.
So he wants me to, help his community, and I want him to help our community.
Indeed.
And so I'm about unity. I'm not about ego. I'm not about money. I'm about trying to make DeKalb County District 86 better.
There you go now. Go ahead, let them know why to vote for you right there.
Vote for me because of those reasons, because I'm about unity. I'm about trying to give you better health care and better access to health care. I'm about trying to decrease crime and making sure that kids who are pushed through the system and graduate high school can read and could do math and could get into college if they want to or get a trade. And I'm against sanctuary cities in DeKalb County. and I am for peaceful coexistence and wiping out terror and letting people be safe on the streets.
Indeed. And there you have it. Politics of black families. Peace.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job, brother.
What do you think?
Cut.
Great.